Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're heading over to Dubai, but not for like the Burj Khalifa or anything like that. We're going to be talking about the Palm Jebel Ali. It's a massive artificial island project, and it's had kind of a crazy history, more twists and turns than a desert dune buggy race,
Yeah,
you know?
it's a really fascinating story. And I think it kind of shows how Dubai has approached growth over the years. It's not just like responding to what people want, but actually like shaping the future.
Yeah.
They build things to attract investment
Yeah.
and get the attention of the whole world.
Yeah, so it's almost like an economic strategy, not just building some fancy island.
Yeah.
So we've got two YouTube videos that we're going to be looking at today. One's from Nakheel Properties. They're the developers behind the project. And the other is from the Impossible Build. That one's a little more behind the scenes, I think.
Yeah, I think looking at both of those gives a good perspective. You see the vision, but then you also see how they actually pull it off. And when you think about it, Dubai in the 1960s was basically just a trading post surrounded by desert. And now it's like this global hub, always pushing the limits of what's possible, especially considering that the region has had a lot of instability.
Yeah, for sure. And the Palm Jebel Ali is like the perfect example of that ambition. I mean, it's even bigger than the Palm Jumeirah, which is already pretty iconic. So this project was first launched back in 2002, but then things kind of went quiet. What happened? Did the desert just swallow it all back up?
Well, not exactly. The timing is really important here. It was 2008. The whole world was in a financial crisis, and these huge projects need a ton of investment to get going. So when the economy crashes, all that money can just dry up.
Ah, so the island's fate was tied to the global economy. Kind of a reminder that even the biggest dreams can be affected by things outside our control.
Totally. But Dubai and the Palm Jebel Ali are resilient. Fast forward to May 2023. Out of nowhere, there's this announcement. $4 billion in new investments to revive the project. But it wasn't just a freebie. Nakheel Properties had to prove to everyone that the project was actually worth it.
Oh, so they couldn't just go back to the banks and say, hey, we need more money. They had to convince everyone that this wasn't going to be another Atlantis,
Yeah,
lost beneath the waves.
exactly. They needed hard data, numbers to show that people would actually invest in this thing.
So what kind of numbers are we talking about?
Well, they're planning on having 80 new luxury hotels and resorts, plus tons of mansions and villas. And the coastline is going to be over 110 kilometers long.
Wow. Okay. Those are some impressive numbers. I was reading that they're also focusing a lot on sustainability. Something like 30% of the island's energy is going to come from blue energy technologies. What is that exactly? Just a fancy way of saying they're putting up some windmills?
It's actually a lot more advanced than that. Blue energy is all about harnessing the power of the ocean, so waves and currents. They can be used to generate clean energy.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're talking about things like wave energy converters and tidal turbines. That's pretty cutting edge, especially for a project this big. But even with all this fancy technology, I still keep coming back to the same question. How do you even build an island this big? We're talking about transforming the ocean floor into land that people can live on.
It really is mind-blowing, a true feat of engineering. They start with dredging, basically scooping up tons of sand and sediment from the ocean floor. It's a Dutch company called the Jan de Nul Group that's doing most of the work. They have these massive dredging machines. Some of them even have names like Nina Pinta and Mercator.
That's kind of funny. Like they're setting sail on a voyage of creation or something.
Right. But these aren't your average beach toys. These machines are like floating factories. They use GPS and all kinds of systems to move huge amounts of material, and they have to be super precise. They're essentially sculpting the seabed into the shape of the island.
That's incredible. It's crazy to think that we can reshape the planet like that. But once you have all that sand piled up, how do you make sure it doesn't just wash away?
Well, that's where vibrocompaction comes in. It's this process where they use these giant vibrating probes. They basically shake the sand until it becomes super dense and stable, like giving the island a really strong foundation. It's not just about dumping a bunch of sand in the ocean. It has to be engineered carefully so it can withstand the elements.
So it's this balance of brute force and delicate precision. But we also have to think about protecting this new landmass. What about erosion? How do they stop the island from just dissolving back into the sea?
That's where the breakwater comes in.
Yeah.
It's this massive crescent-shaped barrier made of rocks and concrete. And it acts as a shield against the waves, protecting the island from erosion. And it also helps create those calm waters that Dubai is known for.
So the breakwater is like the island's guardian, holding back the ocean and creating this tranquil space. But we've got this island taking shape, and it's still detached from the mainland. How do they bridge that gap?
They're building a 450-meter cable-stayed bridge. It's another amazing feat of engineering. And the design is really unique, visually striking, but also functional. It shows how much Dubai cares about even the infrastructure being a statement.
Yeah, it's not just a connection, it's like a symbol of this new world they're creating. It seems like they've thought of everything. But we've talked a lot about the how today, the incredible engineering behind the Palm Jebel Ali. I think we need to shift gears a bit and talk about the why. What's the bigger picture here? What does this project mean for Dubai? And maybe even for the rest of the world?
That's the key question, isn't it? And it's something we'll definitely dive into deeper in our next segment. Because the Palm Jebel Ali isn't just a construction project. It's a symbol of Dubai's ambition, their belief in pushing boundaries, and their desire to be a global leader, not just in terms of luxury, but also in innovation and sustainability.
Okay, now that's a cliffhanger. You've definitely got me curious. Let's take a quick break and come back to unpack all of that. We'll talk about the deeper implications of this island that seems to defy both nature and the economy.
So, yeah, picking up where we left off, I think one of the big implications of this project is who it's actually for. Who's going to be living on this island?
Yeah, we're definitely not talking about like a budget-friendly vacation spot, 80 luxury hotels and resorts, plus all those mansions and villas. Is this like exclusivity on another level?
Exactly. It's being designed for the global elite, people who want the best of the best, and a lifestyle that's completely removed from the everyday world.
But that raises some questions, doesn't it? I mean, does this just reinforce the image of Dubai as a playground for the super rich? Could it end up widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots?
That's a really important point, and it's something that a lot of people have brought up. Dubai has definitely benefited from its reputation as a luxury destination, but we have to think about the social and economic consequences of catering mainly to the ultra-wealthy.
So it's not just about fancy buildings and expensive amenities. There are real social implications, too.
Absolutely. And that's where the whole sustainability thing comes back in. Dubai is really pushing blue energy technologies on the Palm Jebel Ali.
Right. We talked about harnessing the power of waves and currents. But can you go into a little more detail about that? What kind of technology are we talking about? And is it even possible to do this on such a massive scale?
They're looking at a combination of wave energy converters and tidal turbines. The wave energy converters capture the energy of waves and turn it into electricity. And the tidal turbines do the same thing, but with tidal currents. It's definitely a challenge to implement this kind of technology on a project this size. The technology is still pretty new. And there are a lot of logistical hurdles to overcome, like making sure the equipment can withstand the ocean environment and figuring out how to integrate it with the island's power grid.
So it's a bold move, pushing the boundaries of renewable energy.
Sure.
But it's not without its challenges. But even if they can pull it off, will it really be enough to offset the environmental impact of building this island?
That's the big question. And there's a lot of debate about it. Using renewable energy is a step in the right direction. But some experts argue that it's not enough. Just the construction process itself disrupts marine ecosystems. And then there's the carbon footprint of manufacturing and transporting all the materials. Not to mention the sheer amount of resources needed for a project like this.
It sounds like a balancing act, trying to weigh ambition against responsibility. On one hand, you have Dubai's desire to be a leader in innovation and sustainability. But on the other hand, there's the environmental impact of building an artificial island. There are no easy answers here.
Definitely not. And I think this highlights the need for constant research and monitoring. We need to be willing to adapt as we learn more. The Palm Jebel Ali is like a giant experiment, and the whole world is watching to see what happens. The lessons we learn here, both good and bad, could shape how we approach coastal development in the future.
So it's like a real-world case study, unfolding in real time, with a lot at stake. What lessons can other countries and developers learn from this? What potential problems should they be aware of?
I think that's an important question for everyone to think about, especially as we deal with climate change and the need for sustainable development. Projects like the Palm Jebel Ali force us to ask some tough questions. Can we have both luxury and responsibility? Can we push the boundaries of what's possible without harming the planet?
These are questions that go way beyond Dubai. They make us rethink our relationship with the environment and what it really means to make progress.
Exactly. And they highlight the importance of thinking about the long-term consequences of our actions, not just the immediate benefits.
It really makes you think. We're talking about shaping the future.
We are. And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, I think it's important for everyone to keep these big questions in mind, because the Palm Jebel Ali, as impressive as it is ultimately a reflection of our own choices and priorities as a society.
Okay, so we're back. And wow, there's a lot to unpack here. We've covered the engineering, the economics, the social impact, and even the environmental concerns. As we wrap things up, what do you think is the most important thing to remember about Palm Jebel Ali?
For me, it's just the sheer scale of ambition. Dubai's always pushing the limits. This idea that they can reshape the world to match their vision.
It's like they're saying we don't have to settle for what's already there. We can create something entirely new.
Right. And it goes beyond just the technology. It's
Mhm.
about redefining what a city can be, what a nation can aspire to.
The Palm Jebel Ali isn't just an island, it's a statement.
It really is. It's Dubai showcasing its ambition, its wealth, its willingness to take risks.
But as we've discussed, those risks come with responsibilities. We have to consider the potential for economic inequality and the impact on the environment.
Exactly. These are questions that we all need to be asking. Not just about Palm Jebel Ali, but about any project that aims to reshape our world.
It's not just about engineering challenges, it's about societal challenges too.
Absolutely. What kind of future are we building?
Yeah.
And who will benefit from it?
Those are some big questions, but important ones. So as we come to the end of our deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the Palm Jebel Ali shows us that human ingenuity is incredible. We can create things that were once unimaginable.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
For sure. As we push the limits, we need to be aware of the consequences.
Both the good and the bad.
Right. We have to think critically about the social and environmental impact of our actions and make sure that progress benefits everyone, not just a select few.
And maybe most importantly, we need to have open and honest conversations about the future we want.
I agree. The story of Palm Jebel Ali isn't just about Dubai. It's about all of us. Our choices, our priorities, our vision for the world.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
And as with any deep dive, there's always more to explore, more to learn, more to question.
So keep asking those tough questions. Keep learning, keep challenging the status quo.
That's how we create a future that's not just ambitious, but also equitable and sustainable.
Well said. And on that note, it's time for us to surface from this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey to Palm Jebel Ali. Until next time, stay curious.